Welcome to this week's episode of the program. This is the Gavel. I am Benny Ark. As tradition, the House of Representatives paused plenary on Tuesday to honor Honorable Isa Dogunyaro, a member who represented Babura Garki Federal Constituency of Jigawa State. He passed away on Friday, May 10, after a short illness. This is the report. Keeping with its tradition, the House of Representatives on Tuesday suspended plenary in honor of a member, Honorable Isa Dogunyaro, who represented Babura Garki Federal Constituency of Jigawa State. The lawmaker passed away on Friday, the 10th of May, after a brief illness. The Deputy Speaker presided over Wednesday's plenary session as once the cybersecurity levy was a concern. The previous week, the House had called on the central bank to withdraw its ambiguous circular to banks as it does not tally with the Cybercrime Act. The federal government's response was to put the implementation of the levy on hold.
The House further states that the levy does not apply to ordinary Nigerians, but only to the establishment listed in the second schedule of the Act. And these establishments are GSM service providers and all telecommunication companies, internet service providers, banks and other financial institutions, insurance companies, and Nigerian Stock Exchange. No more.
There were fears, however, that Nigerians could still be taxed indirectly.
For us to stand in this chamber and think or we believe that this levy is not going to fall on our citizens, we are deceiving ourselves. Come back to the issue of subsidy. We all assume that when you remove subsidy, it will end somewhere. As a tail end, who is suffering it? It's the masses that we're representing here. If you are putting levy, you are deducting money of GSM and whatever you call the agencies you call for. As a tail end, it will fall on us and the people that we are representing here.
By the issuance of that memo by the CBN, they should have come and give the Nigerian public the clear interpretation, the clear position of that law. But they kept quiet. And I think this lack of attention to details of legislations from the Office of the Attorney General is a source of concern to this country. There are many interpretations of laws in these countries that are put to public domain where the Office of the Attorney General should clarify the issues and then we move forward.
Meanwhile, following a motion of urgent national importance by Honorable Hamid Satomi, the House fears that the security of the president could be at risk after the president was compelled to take a charter flight during his recent trips to Saudi Arabia and the Netherlands.
Disturbed that the occurrences possess a clear, present and imminent threat to the life of the president, the vice president and other very important personalities in our plate from time to time. Gravely disturbed that any calamity of such cannot be taken, are not immediately put into premium operational status, has the potential not only to cause major harm to our stability in Nigeria.
The minority leader shared a somewhat different opinion and did not think the matter should be investigated.
The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom flies British Airways. So we should, British Airways, it's commercial. So I think that we should be thinking of how to resuscitate a national carrier.
If there is need, he can use either commercial or chartered aircraft. And another options, if that will also help Nigerians. If the president can travel by road, then Nigerians will have hope that our roads will be repaired soon.
The motion was stepped down as further debate was halted, while the relevant committees were mandated to carry out investigation if and when necessary.
I want to urge my colleagues to support
In the meantime, a bill for the appointment of more judges to Court of Appeal was killed second reading, and a matter of urgent public importance on the destruction caused by windstorm in Adamawa State was considered and adopted.
The Court of Appeal was established pursuant to the Act in 1976 with only 3 divisions, which are now grown to 20 divisions. And that the amendment proposed is particularly Section 1 of the Principal Act, which is to increase the number of justices from 90 to a minimum of 150 justices in line with current realities.
Concerned that as a result of this disaster, many of the inhabitants of these communities have been displaced. Homes, businesses, properties worth millions of naira were lost. After a personal and fiscal assessment of the area, it is evident that this matter is urgent enough. Worried that this unfortunate incident has caused undue hardship, emotional and psychological trauma to the good people of these communities, who are predominantly peasant farmers and petty traders, who depend on farming and small steady businesses. Mr. Speaker, resolve to urge the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs through the National Emergency Management Agency to assess the level of damage and urgently provide relief materials to the people of these affected communities.
The final plenary of the week began with communications from the president, one of which was the anti-doping bill.
The enactment of this vital legislation will also help Nigeria avoid the imposition of signatory consequences, inclusive of loss of hosting and participating at regional, continental, and world championships or major athletic events. It is my hope that this omission will receive the usual kind, expeditious considerations of the honorable members of the House of Representatives of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for passage of same into law before the Olympic Games coming up in Paris in July 2024.
Matters of urgent national importance on the escalating insecurity in Kaduna State and the killings of 27 people in Zamfara State were considered and adopted.
Worried that most recent incident consumes the life of the bloodshed of Marke, Malam Kabir Mohammed, who was slaughtered and set ablaze by his killers, resulting in his instant incriminations, injuries of some of his household, and loss of the properties worth of millions of naira on Thursday, 2nd May 2024.
These continuous killings and abduction in Sapele local government demands immediate attention and actions. Lives and properties are under constant threat, and the situation is deteriorating rapidly day by day.
The attention of the House was then drawn to the concerns around genetically modified foods, as Honorable Mukhtar Sagaya calls for an investigation.
Urge the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to cause the already introduced GM foods and crops in Nigeria to be properly labeled to safeguard consumers. 3. Mandate the Committee on Agricultural Production and Services to A. Conduct a comprehensive investigation into the introduction of genetically modified crops in Nigeria by the National Biosafety Management Agency. B. Assess the potential health and environmental risks associated with genetically modified crops and report back to the House within 4 weeks.
The House is further urging the federal government to suspend the introduction of new genetically modified crops until an investigation by the committee is completed and the findings are made public.
The bill for an act.
Meanwhile, the bill for an act to establish Federal Medical Center, Kafanchan, Kaduna State, had scaled second reading in the House of Representatives.
Right now, Mr. Speaker, over 5 million people in southern Kaduna cannot access health care. There is no tertiary health care system nearby. The only one in Kaduna State is more than 4 hours down in Shika in Zaria. So if established, it's going to bring health care delivery closer to the people of Kaduna, Plateau State, Nasarawa State, and I can say part of Kano State will also benefit.
On the opening day of plenary this week, the Senate passed the Northwest Development Commission bill to address issues in the 7 states of the region. These followed the adoption of the Special Duties Committee's report. The bill, sponsored by Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin and 20 other lawmakers, passed its third reading. Committee Chair Senator Shehu Kaka said the bill is designed to boost the region's socio-economic development and also bring the federal government closer to the people. This is how it went.
On the first day of plenary for the week, the Senate passed the Northwest Development Commission bill to address the challenges facing the 7 states in the geopolitical zone. This followed the consideration and adoption of the report of the Committee on Special Duties. The bill, which scaled third reading, was sponsored by the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barau Jibrin, and 20 other lawmakers from the 7 states in the Northwest geopolitical zone. Chairman of the committee, Senator Shehu Kaka, representing Borno Central, who moved the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report, said the intent and purpose of the bill are well structured and strategically streamlined for the socio-economic development of the northwest geopolitical zone of the country. He further added that the Commission's establishment will bring the federal government closer to the northwestern states and meet the yearnings and aspirations of the people. Lawmakers in the upper chamber converged again on the second day of plenary with major concerns in the administration of local government on the front burner in a motion sponsored by Senator Ismailu Kawu on the crucial need for President Bola Tinubu to resuscitate advocacy for local government autonomy.
I think that while we are preparing for a review of the Constitution, waiting for the state assemblies to learn their lessons of ensuring grassroots development, because the local government is the foundation of our democracy, we should not spare any effort in bringing it to the court of public opinion, the abuse of the local governments by the state governments that see the local governments as cash cows that they can use at the expense of the development of our communities.
A state like Anambra State has not conducted local government election in the last 18 years. And when you see the youth unemployment, decadency...
18 years?
18 years, sir. In the last 18 years. So we don't have local government election. So, the most important thing is, Mr. President, when you look at the decadency of governance, poor infrastructure, hunger, non-employment of youth, banditry.
Senator Vito Ome is saying that you have only 1 minute remaining.
Mr. President, I should be protected, Mr. President. I should be protected.
I like this prayer too, where there will be a true dialogue led by Mr. President, where we tell ourselves the truth, we lead Nigerians who have been given the mandate, and we must be truthful to ourselves, that until we let the local government function, this country will remain, God forbid, under this kind of insecurity and, of course, uncertain economic and political development.
There are chains of action to be taken. It's not only for us to vote for the autonomy of local governments. We must vote for a body different from a body that be controlled by state government to conduct local government elections. Otherwise, forget it.
Meanwhile, the lawmakers adopted a resolution asking the Inspector General of Police and the Chief of Army Staff to urgently curb the incessant killings and maiming of innocent indigents of Nimbo Adani by suspected herdsmen in Enugu State.
The government hasn't done anything with respect to this matter. It is a misrepresentation, and I withdraw from that particular statement. I am urging also that we will all cooperate together with the government to ensure that our people are secured. We don't have insecurity, you don't have us and them. Security is everybody's responsibility, and we must all work together to ensure that we secure our places.
In the meantime, the Senate has approved the President's loan request of $500 million for the Bureau of Public Enterprises for the metering of citizens to improve financial and technical performance of electricity distribution companies.
Welcome back. You're tuned into the Gavel. The House of Representatives Committee on Financial Crimes is pressing the House to use its full authority against Binance Holdings Limited to ensure the company appears before it to address petitions alleging misconduct in Nigeria. Let's take a look.
The House of Representatives Committee on Financial Crimes is urging the House to invoke and apply its full powers against Binance Holdings Limited to ensure that the firm appears before it to answer to petitions alleging irregularities perpetrated by Binance Holdings Limited in Nigeria. The committee said this at a briefing in Abuja, while asserting that all relevant agencies of government would be invited to determine the extent of Binance's default and the relevant punitive measures. According to the chairman of the committee, although Binance has refused to appear before the public hearing scheduled by the committee, it has proceeded with its investigations, which has so far revealed prima facie incidents of unlawful infractions by Binance, which include tax evasion, money laundering, enabling terrorism, amongst others. Meanwhile, the committee is also insisting that Binance Holdings Limited should be made to tender an apology to the House for seeking to denigrate its integrity following allegations of soliciting for bribes.
We recognize that the blackmail by Binance is merely an attempt to distract and draw attention away from the serious allegations of criminality against it, which is now compounded by its role in the security breach of the sovereign Nigerian state. It is notable that it was after it had unlawful and criminally smuggled Mr. Abjawal out of the lawful custody while his purported head, financial crime compliance, Mr. Trigan, had been remanded in pretrial custody at Kuje Correctional Facility, Abuja, on unlawful orders of Nigerian courts. By Binance, on the 7th of May 2024, belatedly made allegations of solicitation of bribes purportedly made by the committee on the 8th of January 2024. After 4 months, the committee will continue with its legitimate function as indicated and will update the relevant authorities, the general public, and the press as the need arises.
The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has said that Nigeria has a shared history with the United Kingdom and will value their input in strengthening democratic practice not only in Nigeria but Africa as a whole. Senator Akpabio said this when the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Mr. Richard Montgomery, led a delegation to pay a courtesy visit on the leadership of the Senate at the National Assembly in Abuja.
It is the role of any sensible diplomatic mission to understand the priorities and the debate in your parliament, in your National Assembly. And I'm sure there are other distinguished senators or principal office holders who may want to weigh in. But we are watching your debate about issues like state police, issues like promoting better representation for women in politics and in parliament, issues like the palliatives and social safety nets that need to go alongside the difficult economic reforms, but very impressive economic reforms that are being undertaken. And there may be other constitutional issues that you are debating that it is important for us to understand.
Inclusivity is something we believe is very essential. That's where we talk about gender mainstreaming. So, unfortunately, in the last election, we didn't do very well in terms of female inclusion. I think we have how many female senators? 3 female senators. So it's not going to be the problem of the men. It's going to be a general problem of ensuring that we do a lot of sensitization.
We sat down with Senator Adams Oshomole over Dole North. He discussed the achievements so far and the challenges still to be addressed.
During your campaign, you made a promise to ensure proper representation of your constituency. So looking at the situation up until now, do you feel you've done something really significant?
I did say, I'm happy you followed my campaign. It was tough then. I said to our people that, as political leaders, we owe our people at least the truth. That we must properly define empowerment. I do not think that buying a motorbike, 1, 2, 3, 4 motorbikes for 2,000 youths to share across wards, that is empowerment. Because this youth is not going to acquire any skill. And a motorbike for me is not an acceptable mode of mass transportation. When I was governor of Edo State, I actually ended up prohibiting the use of motorbike for commercial purpose because I got security report about the use of motorbike for certain crimes, but much more importantly, because even motor vehicles too can be used and are being used to perpetrate crime. But the deciding factor was the fact that when I visited the hospitals, both UBTH and Central Hospital, about 70% of patients in the hospital, including orthopedic patients, were victims of motorbikes. The essence of my being in the Senate is not to count the number of sewing machines that I give to quote widows. First, it's not only widows that are poor. The average rural woman is poor because of the nature of our economic system. Your husband manages 1 hectare, and then after the farming season, you use it to produce groundnut, and you sell it in local market. Just subsistence farming. And so I said to them, I want to deal with those factors that will enable them live their life better. Because our people are not lazy. And they are not asking government to create a long dining table for them to queue in the evening and be spoon-fed. They just want government to deal with the big issues of infrastructure, beginning now with security. Because of the condition of the roads in Edo State, the federal road particularly, the one connecting my constituency to Benin and connecting my constituency to Okene and Lokoja. These are roads that are central to the economic life of our people, because when they go to the farm, they work so hard and they are blessed with good harvest. Those who buy, who come to the 7-day market to buy, they take it to Benin or they bring it to Abuja. When the roads are blocked, this item tends to get perished. And I said, I will work along with the other 2 senators from Edo State, but if I can, I will also persuade our neighboring senators from Delta and from Kogi that all of us should see this road connecting Edo, Delta Edo to the north as our first constituency project. By getting the federal government to complete the road, the dualization of that road has been on for 16 years. So I got through about 3 or 4 presidents. Of course, it's easier in terms of quick wins for TV show. The cost of building a kilometer of road, I can buy maybe 3,000 motorbikes and then line them up, bring a channel television. These are my constituency projects. Line up the youths and be giving them as if I'm a donor. And 2 years down the road, half of the motorbikes are dead. The youths are confused. Shomoli Tenyo has said that they're waiting for the next senator. No. We should cautiously take them out of poverty by dealing with those basic things. I also believe that in all my own constituency things, I provide for, if you have a market, you should have a school, you build a school, you should also try and see if you can provide for toilets and school halls and so on. We are, rather than building village town hall for a community, how many times do they hold meeting in a typical village? You can build a hall for the students to do the assembly, and during festivals when the community needs to assemble, they can also use that hall.
That concludes our show for this week. Your input matters, so drop us a line at thegavel@channelstv.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Benny Ark saying goodbye, take care, and be well.